Wow, you may be wondering what is going on here? Why are they demolishing such a beautiful structure? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you how residents of the Amasaman in Sawam stretch of the Greater Accra region have their homes, their offices, etc., their businesses, fuel stations, all of these broken down as part of a major road expansion project. We are going to look at a brief history of how this happened. We are going to look at how people prefer buying land by the roadside and even how land by the roadside is super expensive. We're also going to look at the compensation process, which includes their permit to build and valuation of the land, and then the inconvenience. Next, we'll talk about the fact that the demolition has started, though they've not been compensated, and the fact that they were warned about 2 years ago, but this thing has been demarcated for a road since over 10 years ago. And finally, we are going to look at the lessons learned. All these and more coming up next. Okay guys, so let's talk about a brief history of why the buildings you saw are being demolished. In an interview with City FM, the director of lands spoke about the plan for government to expand the road. Now I've been plying this route almost every week and I've seen the road expansion works ongoing, and that's pretty good because it's going to reduce the level of traffic from Ofanko all the way to Amasaman and Insawam, if you know that side of Accra. In the evenings and on Saturdays, there's usually heavy traffic on the Pokwasi Road, and also very early in the morning because we have like a 6-lane road going in either direction, right? 3 lanes here, 3 lanes there, and at a point it turns into a 2-lane road. So there's a huge funnel effect and there's so much traffic early in the morning when people are going to work and late in the evening when people have closed from work. So the government has earmarked this portion of land for road expansion since about 2006. 2 years ago, the residents in the area were told that there's going to be a demolition exercise for the road to be expanded. 2 months ago, they were asked to bring their building permit and their land documents to the Lands Commission and to the committee which is in charge of this project at the assembly and the district level. The demolition has started, as you can see on your screens, and people have lost their homes, people have lost their businesses, and the residents are very aggrieved because according to the residents and the information reaching us, right, they have not yet been paid the amounts which were due them as compensation. But then these things happen way too often, especially if you are by highways and major roads leading or connecting two major cities, right? Recently, this same thing is happening or happened at the Teshi Nungwa Road, where residents were also affected. So what does that mean? If you are buying land, you need to really check to see the history of the land, the plans of the government for the said lands. Is there going to be an airport? Is there going to be a highway, etc.? And know that if you are by the road exactly, and that's what you are buying and you prefer, then one day you could also be in this situation. So you need to do your due diligence, ensure the papers and everything are legit, but you also need to know what the plans of the government is. And so we want to look at why, first of all, people prefer buying lands by the roadside. And it makes sense, right? Because if you are being shown 2 parcels of land and one is by the roadside and one is way inside, most people will prefer to buy land by the roadside. And as a result, prices of land by roadside has become super expensive, which is not necessarily a bad thing because one, you have easy access to hospitals, to the road networks, everything. And usually if you are by the main road, you have like good roads as opposed to if you are way inside, right? So what does that mean? If you are buying land, you need to really check to see the history of the land, the plans of the government for the said lands. Is there going to be an airport? Is there going to be a highway, etc.? And know that if you are by the road exactly, and that's what you are buying and you prefer, then one day you could also be in this situation. So you need to do your due diligence, ensure the papers and everything are legit, but you also need to know what the plans of the government is for the land that you are purchasing. Really important. Now, I want you to take a listen to this audio recording of an engineer who was sharing his thoughts about this whole situation. Don't worry if you don't understand Tree. We have the captions below, so just listen and then share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks, Bebre.
Good evening, guys. I was just sharing the issues or the problems on the Ofanko Road. You know, the contract has started, the project has started from that $200 million project of a 5-lane from Ofanko all the way to Nsawam and beyond, just slightly above beyond the Nsawam bypass. Now, the reason why I'm sharing this video is in two reasons. Yeta etuto asase wo car kwan on the roadsides no. Say a person your roadside yenhwe niye. And yes I see a diamond for no, so sometimes we should let them do some due diligence kakra. My clients nearly had a problem on the Nsawam bypass. We just finished the demarcation and they have at least about 770, more 84 meters of their land to spare. So they are lucky. I told them about it almost like a year ago. Said there might be an expansion. Now, this demolition is happening right from Dobro all the way to Pukwase. Yebu are dining rough from police. The police are there. The police are standing there as we speak, and they are demolishing their houses with ease. Huge buildings are all going. They are all going down because the executive instrument that was passed in 2002, MSR right of way, and said 45 meters from the center of the drain, median drain, 45 meters at both sides of the road, all the way to Kumasi. While we see down or Kwanu be within the right of way, who assemble. These people have been paid their monies from 2003, 2004, Abanye to Amoka. And because Abanya here Kwanu and move say Abana a tool into Ometwaso. And Akorani, when we see Abansa, we see a bigger houses, warehouses, factories, pharmaceutical companies, Charlie. Or Muye Juma, a solid dying mocks, Binimuka Kahun, Omuna, you move from. Once government has paid the money, what be Jimmy or Biano? Once they are document to prove, say, they treat you as canny now, we go, yeah, the walk. Ain't Adana agree with almost 95-98% of them need nada. I am a compensation from 2004, 2005, 2006. And the MEN say, even more honor, the owners of the initial lands and our magic compensation. Almost a buy and develop, and almost a toma. Individuals are money almost see a dank and from last 2 weeks, you drew in. So far as government has money for that project in India, Charlie, any point to be a episode to us as we sit down or car from Charlie. Let's be mindful so that we can go get them.
So next, this brings me to the compensation process. Of course, if you have land by the roadside and the government wants to, build road on your land, right? They would need to compensate you. They can't just come and break your land. And usually when they need to break or demolish those properties, they would ask you for your land title document and your building permit. And I know many Ghanaians don't like going for permits when building because, hey, one, the permit process takes an eternity if you don't have the right connections and if you don't start early because usually there's a backlog, right? And some of these state agencies are not super efficient. They don't have good data collection, storage, and analytical processes. And so the process of you getting a permit takes quite a long time. It can take anywhere from a week to about 6 months, even a year, right? People have reported longer periods. And so most people, once they acquire their land, because of the volatile and uncertain nature of land in Ghana, even if you buy it and you do all your papers and you don't build on it, the people who sold the land to you may, right, sell the land to other people if you decide not to build on it. And so people usually buy the land and start building so that if there's no issue, maybe they'll pay 30%, and then if there is no issue, they'll pay the rest of the 70%. And then they also start building, put a wall around it so that others who want to purchase the land will know that, hey, somebody's actually developing on this property. So if the owners want to sell this land to you, think twice. And so in a bid to do all these things, sometimes people just completely ignore the building permit process. And as a result, what happens is they build, then they come and write stop work, produce permit. Or they come and demolish their buildings. Or some even complete without a permit. If you are in such a category, you may not receive the compensation you are supposed to get for this demolition process. And so that talks about the due diligence process for building. And in future videos, we are going to go more into detail about what to do when purchasing land and what to do even after you have purchased before you start building. So if you haven't yet subscribed, kindly subscribe, turn on all notifications so you do not miss that episode. And hey, if you are getting value from this video, kindly like this video and share so that others can learn from it and make an informed decision before they purchase lands or buy houses in Ghana or Africa. Now, next, let's talk about the inconvenience, right? Even if you had your permits and all your land documents and everything, it's still a super inconvenience. Assuming they value your land and they even give you the fair value of the land, right, or the building, and it's, let's say, $100,000. Right now, the demolition has started before the compensation has been given. If you don't have any relatives, you move from the diaspora to Ghana, where are you going to stay? You need to go and rent an Airbnb or a hotel or an apartment or a guest house, and this is going to be very costly. Even if you have relatives in Ghana, it's a bit of an inconvenience. Imagine you have a family, you are married, you have kids and everything, you need to move to a relative or a friend's place. That's a super inconvenience, right? So you need to consider all these things. Also, even if you're not moving into a relative's place, the process of acquiring another portion of land and building or buying a house typically takes a very long time. So even if they give you the money today, you may not be able to get a place to stay within the next 3-6 months or 1 year, right? So this is a major inconvenience. And imagine someone like me, I've just come home from work. Because I want to share this information with you, I haven't even gone to change. And I'm recording this video to get extra streams of income. Then you put up a building, see all the stress, the increase in prices of cement and iron rods and all these, and then your building gets demolished and you don't have documents, or you have documents but you are not able to get a place to live and move your family to. That's a super inconvenience. So what are some of the lessons you can learn? I think I've highlighted some of them. Make sure you check the history of the land and the future plans of governments for the land. Do your due diligence. And sometimes it's not too good to buy land by the roadside, though you may be compensated, but it's such an inconvenience. What other lessons do you have? Leave them in the comments below. If you haven't liked and subscribed, kindly do so. Share this video with somebody and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Thanks, Bebre.